Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. News at 12.
In the local scene, farmers affected by the recent Mayon volcanic activity received 10 kilos of rice from the provincial government. Eleonor Odonio Barangay Malabnig in Ginubatan said their community lies within the Mayon volcano's 7-kilometer extended danger zone. Odonio said ashfall damaged nearly 2 hectares of vegetable crops, affecting the livelihood of many farmers in the area. She said most residents depend on farming as their main source of income, making recovery more difficult for affected families. She further acknowledged the government for the assistance, saying the rice aid will help families meet their daily needs while recovering from losses. The distribution is part of the continuing relief efforts for communities affected by Mayon's recent unrest. In other story, more than 20,000 rural workers affected by recent ashfall from Mayon volcano are said to receive financial assistance from the Department of Labor and Employment. Albay Governor Noel Ibriga Ruzal confirmed the aid following a situation briefing on Mayon volcano held at Malacanang Palace and led by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Ruzal said 20,655 affected rural workers across the province will receive 4,550 each in financial assistance. He said the assistance was approved by President Marcos during discussions with national government agencies, including the Department of Labor and Employment. Department of Labor Regional Director Imelda Gutino said profiling of qualified beneficiaries is ongoing to ensure proper distribution of the aid. The assistance aims to help workers affected by ashfall that disrupted farming activities, livelihood operations, and daily income in several Albay towns. Ruzal expressed thanks to the national government for the immediate support extended to affected Albayanos. In other news, the provincial government of Albay is moving to strengthen healthcare services through a proposed partnership under the Espesyalista para sa Bayan program. Governor Noel E. Ruzal requested authority to sign a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Health and pediatric specialist Dr. Maria Cristi B. Buban. The proposal was submitted to Vice Governor Farida S. Ko and the Sangguniang Panlalawigan ng Albay to help expand access to specialized healthcare services in the province. The program aims to bring medical specialists closer to communities and give Albayanos better access to advanced pediatric care. The Committee on Health and the Social Services, chaired by 1st District Board member Marian Caroline Siga So, endorsed the proposed partnership for its potential to improve healthcare delivery in Albay. The partnership is expected to enhance medical consultations and specialist services across the province. In the national scene, Senator Bato de la Rosa is expected to receive a subpoena from the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, CIDG, requiring him to appear before its office as part of an ongoing probe. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla said, stressing that it is not an arrest warrant. Rimulya said the investigation begins with De La Rosa, whom he described as a key figure in the government's anti-drug illegal drugs campaign that led to many deaths under the war on drugs. The Department of Interior and local government clarified that the probe is an internal government process and it is not connected to the International Criminal Court, with Rimulya saying the Philippines is not cooperating with the ICC. The ICC, for its part, said it has not issued any new arrest warrants, including reports about one supposedly involving De La Rosa, who is currently in Davao City while being monitored, said authorities. Authorities added that airports and other exit points have been placed on alert, airlines have been informed, and officials stressed that as a sitting senator, De La Rosa will be treated properly without the use of handcuffs during the process. In other story, the Philippine National Police PNP reported a 12% drop in major crimes nationwide after stepping up its Safer Cities initiative, which started on April 6 in urban and high-risk areas. From April 6 to May 6, focus crimes cases fell from 3,047 to 2,684, meaning there were 363 fewer incidents overall, according to PNP monitoring data. Some crimes saw sharp declines, including rape cases, which dropped by 25.4%, physical injuries by 24.3%, homicide by 14.1%, and theft by 5%. Murder cases went down by 7.4% from 339 to 314, while robbery cases also decreased by 7.4% from 363 to 336 during the same period. PNP Chief Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. said the improvement was due to stronger police work and community cooperation, adding that efforts will continue to make neighborhoods safer. In other news, Malacanang dismissed Senator Amy Marquez's allegation that the administration is pressuring lawmakers to support the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte, saying such claims must be supported by evidence. The palace also criticized what it described as the spread of unverified accusations and political intrigue among some officials. Senator Marquez claimed that some lawmakers are being threatened with possible legal cases if they refuse to support the impeachment complaint. She also said certain lawmakers' budget allocations were marked for delayed release, which could affect funding for local projects. The House of Representatives is set to vote on the committee report finding probable cause in the impeachment complaint, which could send the case to the Senate if enough members support it. And in the news outside the country, a cruise ship carrying about 150 people is approaching Spain's Canary Islands after a hantavirus outbreak led to emergency evacuation plans at sea. The Dutch-flagged MV Honduras is expected off Tenerife early Sunday, where Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus of the World Health Organization will help oversee the operation. 3 passengers, a Dutch couple and a German woman, have died, and several others are sick, with officials confirming the more contagious and strain of the virus. Health authorities said All passengers are considered high risks, though stressed there is a minimal threat to the wider public, and described the response as fully prepared. The ship will remain offshore while passengers are screened and flown out in stages with restricted zones set up at the port to manage the process safely. Contact tracing is underway across several countries, with some passengers testing negative but still being monitored or kept in quarantine as a precaution. In other story, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy warned that any attack on its oil tankers, oil commercial vessels, would trigger heavy strikes on U.S. bases and ships in the region, after reports that U.S. forces hit two Iranian tankers despite a fragile ceasefire. The U.S. military said it struck two Iranian tankers accused of breaking a blockade, blocked attacks on its own warships, and carried out strikes on Iranian military sites near the Strait of Hormuz. Bahrain arrested 41 people it said were linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guard over alleged funding transfers, while Iran issued warnings to Bahrain, and the U.S. reported it had returned back dozens of ships, and there is maritime restrictions. Bahrain and France are preparing naval deployments to secure shipping once conditions improve, as diplomatic efforts continue to extend the ceasefire and prevent further escalation in the region. And finally, in the news outside the country with reference to the Philippines, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, is considering a proposal to allow Myanmar's top diplomat to join virtually in a side event during a foreign ministers' meeting in July. The discussion took place as leaders of the bloc met for a summit in the Philippines. Myanmar has been excluded from ASEAN's main meeting since the 2021 military coup, which overthrew the country's civilian government. Since then, the bloc has maintained limited contact while urging the military leadership to follow a peace plan calling for an end to violence and broader dialogue. At the Cebu summit, ASEAN leaders also discussed regional issues such as maritime security cooperation, while addressing concerns over an energy crisis linked to tensions involving the United States, Israel, and Iran, with a focus on stabilizing oil supply. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said member states explored ways to improve coordination on energy security. The Philippines currently holds ASEAN's rotating chairmanship and serves as the bloc's special envoy on Myanmar matters. Diplomatic sources said that Thailand's pushed for Myanmar's participation in the July meeting, while Singapore opposed in-person attendance by its foreign minister. Meanwhile, there were no objections to Myanmar joining a virtual side event focused on its situation. And that's the news at 12, May 11, 2026. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writers, Naomi Ruth Hernandez and LJ Lurejo. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. And our Provincial Information Office OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Irusal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.